Welcome to another Bible Discovery class. Pastor Ron and Mary are still on holidays, and I trust that they're having a wonderful time on their vacation. Some time ago, when I spoke to you, I shared some thoughts on the topic or theme of pertaining to the word conscience. For today, I want to reflect on the word worry or not to worry. And I'll start off by trying to tie these two together with just a short story. For this year, May 1st marked the deadline for most people having to file their income tax. The story is told about an individual, when filing his income tax returns, failed to report some of his income. But this began to worry him because he knew if he was found out that the CRA would probably penalize him. As a result, night after night, he could not sleep. So finally, in desperation, he wrote a check to the CRA addressed to whom it may concern. Enclosed, please find a check in the amount of $1,000 for income that I failed to report. Then he added this, P.S. If I still can't sleep, I'll send you the rest of the money that I owe you. Probably could be some truth to this story. Dr. Jeremiah often talks about giants in our lives, and he has written a book called Slaying the Giants in Your Life. So what is the biggest giant that we face today? Yes, in our lifetime, there no doubt will be many giants that we confront on a daily basis. And worry apparently happens to top the list. Worry. What is it? What causes it? What are the results or the consequences of it? Simply stated, worry is a state of mind, and thus it comes with choices. Its causes are unlimited, and the results of worry are often very harmful. I think that we can agree that when it comes to membership in the human race, worry becomes part of that package. Even if we realize that worry is often useless and unhealthy. Corrie ten Boom wrote, "Worry is an old man with bended head, carrying a load of feathers, which he thinks are lead." I can imagine if you were to sit down and make a list of all the things you worry about, it might fill a page or more. And at every stage of our life, you probably could come up with a new list of things to worry about. I recently read a report that on average, a person spends 15 hours a week worrying about things. Yes, life is often marked by events of loss and suffering, both great and small. So, is it really wrong to worry about things such as loss of job, change in a job, loss of a loved one, poor health, moving to a new location, spousal relationships, money, children, grandchildren, friends, transportation, church, our relationship with God, and on and on. To worry, yes, but not anxious worry. So how is worry manifested? As already stated, sometimes in sleepless nights. Other times our heart may begin to beat faster and faster. We may even get sick to our stomach. We may find it hard to breathe. Sometimes the worrying thoughts can feel out of control, flooding our mind, and so on and on. I think we all realize that to over-worry can be both mentally and emotionally draining. Sometimes it may even feel impossible to wade through these worries to the point that we can't even focus on a solution. But as hard as this may be, we must remember that to worry is an active choice. Robert Schuller, in one of his writings, states, God is not responsible for our worry, for our fear, for our anxiety. It is our fault. Instead, he says, if we took God's promises seriously, we would mount up with wings like eagles, run and not be weary, walk and never faint. Remember, Dr. Schuller often was quite poetic in his writings. When we study the book of Job, we learn, and I think it's made very clear, that God is not the problem. Other people are not the problem. If there is a problem, it most likely is with me. An illustration that I have used before is a quote from Chuck Swindoll, who has summarized this very succinctly in saying, "The longer I live, the more I realize the impact of worry on the attitude of life. Attitude to me is more important than facts. It is more important than failures, than successes, than what other people think or say or do. It is more important than appearance, giftedness, or skill. It can make or break a company, a church, or even a home. The remarkable thing is, we have a choice every day regarding the attitude we embrace for that day. We cannot change the past. We cannot change the fact that people will act in a certain way. The only thing we can do is play on the one string we have, and that is our attitude." He concludes by saying, "I am convinced that life is 10% of what happens to me and 90% of how I react to it." Remember that we are and must be in charge of our choices and attitude. So what are we to do if we tend to over-worry about things? Luckily for us, God has the perfect antidote for any ailment that worry can give us. One of the best ways to relieve worry is by reading the Bible. The Bible can be our best first aid kit. The Bible tells us that King Saul was a worrywart. And in 1 Samuel 16:23, we read that David would take up his lyre and play to Saul, and relief would come to Saul. Apart from what is mentioned in the Bible, using music as a treatment goes way back to the 1890s, when doctors carried out experiments on the relationship between music and mental illness. They found that music had a powerful effect on the listener and has been shown to alleviate loneliness, pain, anxiety, and depression. Today, music is used as a therapy for actual treatment. People are experiencing the powerful effect of music on mood without understanding why. Researchers have recently documented it as a clinical benefit, and music is now being prescribed as a treatment for cancer patients, people suffering from Parkinson's, and for dementia and trauma patients. When my son Julian was in a coma from his accident, I was asked to bring some of his favorite music to the hospital, and they played it in his room all day long. The Bible gives us many verses to help us with the aspect of worrying. Just to list a few. Philippians 4:19. And my God shall supply all your needs according to his riches in glory by Christ Jesus. Psalm 4:3-5. Why are you cast down, O my soul? And why are you disquieted within me? Hope in God, for I will praise him, and the help of my countenance and my God. Psalm 55:22. Cast your burden on the Lord, and he shall sustain you. He shall never permit the righteous to be moved. The Message Bible states this as follows: Pile your troubles on God's shoulder. He'll carry your load. He'll help you out. He'll never let good people topple into ruin. And 1 Peter 5:7, casting all your care upon him, for he cares for you. I have a couple of favorite verses beyond these, and I'm going to read from two different sections of the Bible. The first one I'll be reading from Matthew 6:25-30, reading from the Message Bible. If you decide for God, living a life of God worship, it follows that you don't fuss about what's on the table at meal times or whether the clothes in your closet are in fashion. There is far more to life than the food you put in your stomach, more to your appearance than the clothes you hang on your body. Look at the birds, free and unfettered, not tied down to a job description, careless in the care of God. And you count far more to him than birds. Has anyone, by fussing in front of a mirror, ever gotten taller by as much as an inch? All of this time and money wasted on fashion. Do you think it makes much difference? Instead of looking at the fashions, walk out into the fields and look at the wildflowers. They never primp or shop, but have you ever seen color and design quite like it? The 10 best dressed men and women in the country look shabby alongside of them. If God gives such attention to the appearance of wildflowers, most of which are never even seen, don't you think he'll attend to you and take pride in you and do his best for you? What I'm trying to do here is to get you to relax, to not be so preoccupied with getting, so you can respond to God's giving. People who don't know God and the way he works fuss over these things. But you know both God and how he works. Steep your life in God reality, God initiative, God's provisions. Don't worry about missing out. You'll find all your everyday human concerns will be met. And then the other part I want to read from is from the book of Philippians. chapter 4. Starting at verse 6. Don't fret or worry. Instead of worrying, pray. Let petitions and praises shape your worries into prayers, letting God know your concerns. Before you know it, a sense of God's wholeness and everything coming together for good will settle you down. It's wonderful what happens when Christ displaces worry at the center of your life. Summing it all up, friends, I'll say you'll do best by filling your minds and meditating on things true, noble, reputable, authentic, compelling, gracious, the best, not the worst, the beautiful, not the ugly, things to praise, not things to curse. I trust that these verses from the Bible will be meaningful in our endeavor to treat life as it should be and not to take anxious time in worrying about things that in most cases never happen. Blessings on His Word. Some time ago, I received an email, and attached was a page entitled The Balance Sheet of Life. I personally found this to be very helpful, and I'd like to share it with you. The Balance Sheet of Life. There are about 21 different sayings and a word at the end as to what it's all about. Number 1, the most destructive habit that we can have is to worry. The greatest joy that we can have is by giving. The greatest loss we can endure is when we have loss of self-respect. The most satisfying work is helping others. The ugliest personality trait, that's selfishness. The greatest shot in the arm is encouragement. The greatest problem to overcome, fear. The most effective sleeping pill, peace of mind. The most crippling failure disease, excuses. Is that ever prevalent today? Excuses, excuses, excuses. The most powerful force in life, love. The most dangerous act, gossip. The world's most incredible computer, our brain. The worst thing to be without, hope. The deadliest weapon, the tongue. The 2 most powerful filled words, I can. For some time, my son and I went to the Good Life gym, and on the wall there was a huge sign with these words, don't let the things that you can't do stop you from doing the things that you can do. Every time we exercised, there was a reminder on the wall of that. The greatest asset, faith. The most worthless emotion, self-pity. Oh me, oh my. The most beautiful attire, a smile. The most prized possession, integrity. The most powerful channel of communication, and that of course is prayer. And the most contagious spirit, enthusiasm. Life ends when you stop dreaming. Hope ends when you stop believing. Love ends when you stop caring. Hopefully these things related to the balance sheet of life will have some had some meaning for you. Thank you for tuning in, and have a blessed day.